Oh, already full. Awesome, great start. Should we talk about some marketing stuff today? That could be fun. Let's do it. All right, so let's talk about Power BI. Ooh, that's not a tool we use, SEMrush or Stat or those tools. Nah, we're gonna talk about Power BI. The reason why I like Power BI is because I like to talk about money. The reason why a lot of us don't get buy-in is because we don't talk about money. We talk about technical debt, canonical tags, 301s and 302s. We talk about traffic. We talk about click-through rates. And this is why PPC gets all the money, because they talk about money. So I've, for years, been like, how are we going to talk more about money? Like, if we don't talk about money, nobody's going to listen to anything we say. They don't get my stuff done for my technical audit. Well, did you put any dollar signs in it? Well, no. How am I supposed to estimate that? Well, then they're not going to get it done. It doesn't matter how much you learn today if none of it equates to dollar signs, because nobody's going to listen to you. I learned this really cool thing at Search, Levin, look at it, and your boss is like, yawn, yawn, yawn. Is it going to make us more money? Well, it should. The other thing I love to talk about is how teams should be integrated and how integrated teams make better decisions. But we like to stay in our silos, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And the other thing I love to do is I don't like to show complicated things. Because anything that's complex, you're not going to do. You'll be like, wow, that Will guy, smart. I'm not doing any of that stuff when I get back. You think you will. Today you're going to take all these notes, and you swear when you get back to your desk on Monday, you're going to do, no, you're not. So these are the three things that I believe. Talk about money, integrate, keep things simple. And that's led me to this concept of bigger data. I will not call this big data. Remember that old thing, big data? Now that we got voice search to worry about? Like, a big data, we're already done with that. No, you're not. You're still downloading CSVs to your desktop. But now we're on the voice search. That's the new thing, big data. Oh, it's so old, I already finished that. Wrong. I'm going to take you back to that old thing, big data. So I want to start talking about a failure of mine, big failure, and it was painful. It was really freaking frustrating. So something that I asked myself is I was like sitting on some beach somewhere in Barcelona. I said, well, what's the most important thing I could work on? I stopped and reflected before my flight, and I just sat there thinking about what's the most important thing I could work on. And at the time, I was reading this book, a book that I strongly recommend you read, especially if you're like me, where sometimes you have so many things that you want to work on, and you just don't know what the frameworks are to start figuring out which one's the best one to work on. Ah, this book has saved my life. Because it gets you to stop asking this question that we all ask ourselves. What's the most important thing I could do out of search law about all the things I learned? Wrong question. What you should ask yourself is this. If every area of my operation, my business, my day-to-day, my job, stayed at its current level of performance, so it's going to perform the same way today as it is a month from now or a year from now, what's the one area where change would have the biggest impact? Because we're never going to get to all the things. But this is the filter that our minds and the way that we work on things needs to start thinking. For me, that provides instantaneous focus. OK, all the things Sear could do, if there was one thing we could do different and let everything else just keep burning, all the fires, let them keep burning, what's the one fire to put out or the one opportunity worth going after? So what I did, and there's a couple people from Sear here, they remember this. So I put together my wildly important goals, zoom in a little bit. My goal was more integration, because I spent about 6 months doing PPC in addition to my SEO job, came out and was like, oh my God, the tools that they have over there are ridiculous. that we fight over and we try to get that information. They already have it. We just don't even know to ask for it. So I said, I want to see one person on our team switch from the SEO team to the PPC or analytics team by June 30th, 2015. Long time ago. And then I wanted somebody to be benched, which is just eligible to then switch teams. I've been working on this for 18 months before I even launched that. And I wanted people to swap. I was like, okay, we're going to swap teams. We're going to, because I had done it myself. And I sat in rooms, and people were like, damn, Will, how'd you come up with all that strategery? Well, because I was a PPCer for 6 months. So like this stuff that you guys are trying to figure out for hours and hours, like it's called a search query report and conversion data. We already have that. What do you mean not provided? What are you talking about? One person in the whole company swapped. One. I was freaking pissed off. I had spent 18 months prepping. It's been almost 2 years. It's 3 years of my life. I've been like, guys, this is the thing. If you think that it's Seer, because I speak on all these stages and shit, that people actually listen to me, you're freaking wrong. I'm just like you. I'm trying to convince people to come along with me on the things that I see that are clear as day. I am convincing people that Seer. They're not like, oh my God, Will, you're on stage in London and shit. You're so smart. He says we should do it. We should just do it. Wrong. So this is how it felt. It's like having 150 people in your company being like, yeah, whatever, dude. Let me just pour this water on your freaking head. That's my son, one of my sons. That's Rio. See you in 24 hours, buddy. All right. But I had seen the light. I was sitting in rooms running circles around SEOs because I had some PPC data in my arsenal. And Will, how'd you come up? Why do your clients always listen to you when you come in the room, Will? Because of the thing I told you to start doing 3 years ago you're not doing. I had all these new tools. And I was just like, oh my God, nobody's listening to me. But they're just like you. None of you guys are going to do this. Actually, I think some of you will. So I said, all right, time to pivot. See, you all should have a vision for something. My vision was integration. I don't care what your job is. You got to have some kind of vision for it. Because when shit gets tough, you'll keep powering through. If you don't have a vision and you just like get kicked, oh, well, they're not going to let me do it, so I guess I'll just do whatever they let me do, you have no vision. I believed in this so much that I refused to let it go. And I said, all right, so none of you guys want to do it? Fucking fine. I'm going to go out and learn another way to do this. And then I won't need any of you to change teams because I'm going to build all your strategy for you in 5 seconds. But why, Will, why are you building all my strategies and not letting the client talk to me about them? Because you're bringing a knife to a data fight. So I started using Power BI. And because I just saw, it's funny, here's another thing. Anybody in the company who's a manager or a CEO, you know who taught me Tableau? A freaking college grad taught me Tableau. Spend time with your interns and your new people. They will show you things you've never seen before. All the things I'm showing you, I owe to somebody named Katie Pulaski. Right after she graduated college, came to Seer. And was like, well, wait, I see you guys have all this data. Why aren't you using Tableau? I was like, Tableau? So let me get started on what I'm able to do now as a result. So this is the part where you want to really start paying attention. So let's evaluate the current state of keyword research. This probably sounds familiar to a lot of you because it's exactly how we do stuff, but not anymore as I start getting my hands on people's projects. Step one, you talk to the client, right? You get in the room, oh, who are your competitors? Well, I don't even know why we're asking that question anymore with big data. Who are your competitors? They don't even know. Step two, tools, 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 tools. SEM rush. I put in a competitor like Distilled or somebody. I'm like, SEO technical checklist. Oh, I'm getting my butt kicked. All right, I'm going to work on that keyword. Then I look at the search volume, and I look at the cost per click, right? So we've run our keywords through these tools, and then we come up with some BS click-through rate curve. If you use a click-through rate curve, and you have never actually sat and watched more than 5 human beings go through a search result, you're a moron. Because when you actually watch real human beings use the web, you realize that human beings don't go, I'm going to click on number 1, then number 2, then number 3, then number 4, then number 5. If you use this, you're a moron. You prioritize all your keywords, and then you optimize them. This is what we all do, right? Tools, talk, tools, okay, got a feel for who your competitors are and who I should look at, and you run off and you optimize stuff. Well, let me show you what's possible when you take 250,000 keywords out of a client search query report and turn it into a visualization. Because now, for my clients, when I'm doing this work, I have cost, position, conversions, snippets, their real click-through rates, right? That's all sitting there. And you come up with little visuals like this. Notice how I can put my mouse over a keyword, each dot represents a keyword, and I can go, oh, hey, client, deck builder. Wait a second. You got 226 conversions on that keyword, but you're ranked at number 19. Should we maybe start working on that first? Because what I have here are conversions on this axis, position on that axis, X and Y. So anything that's up at the top is lowly ranked. Closer to the right, a lot of conversions. Instant prioritization of 250,000 keywords. You were looking at a visual that is showing you something a little less than 250,000 search queries over 6 years for this client. Might I want to start there? If you were my client, would you rather me go to SEMrush and pull some fake data, or go into your own data warehouse, pull your own data, marry 2 different data sets together from 2 different teams that never use each other's data, and go, well, wait, conversions, position, SEO report, PPC report. I'm going to show you how to connect these two. So then I show up to a freaking meeting with a bunch of my team members after they've done their analyses, and I'm like, surprise! I got you. Because I just looked at 250,000 keywords. What did you look at? PPC people are used to that. SEOs are like, I went through SEMrush. Click-through rate curves, make your own. Why are you using generic click-through rate curves, God bless you, when it sits inside of Google Search Console? Why? So I'm building this client's click-through rate curve. The size of the bubble is conversion. So your biggest converting keywords, I can tell which the biggest ones are. Average position, 1 through 10. Average organic click-through rate. I can saturate this inside of Power BI to also make sure that the keywords I'm going after actually have real conversions, so the darker the number, or the darker the color. Sorry, I'm colorblind, so I'm assuming that's darker. The more conversions I have. This is my client's personal click-through rate curve. Because when you do this, you start finding things like this, which was really interesting. Estimator calculator keywords were the ones that were getting the highest click-through rate. Those 2 keywords out there were misspellings of the brand name that didn't come out of my filter. So I can tell this client, on your best day in position 1, if we write a bunch of great estimator and calculator keywords, your highest click-through rate is going to be about 13%. It's their own data. Why aren't we using that? So now I can come up with best, middle, and worst case scenarios for each position along the trajectory. So if I move a keyword from, let me go back, show you. So for instance, I could say, okay, if I move a keyword from 8 to 4 or 5, I get one feel of what I'm able to increase the client's click-through rate on. But then I can see if I can move a keyword from 3 to 1, what the possibilities are. Then when I overlay conversions, I can know whether or not that keyword actually converts to make it worth doing. Because there's no need of me moving a keyword from 3 to 1 and get more traffic if that traffic doesn't convert. So how do I bring my converting traffic in? You add in your PPC report to this report. You add that PPC data in. Does that make sense? Or am I losing you? Because if I'm losing you, that's great, because it means you're not going to do it either, and then I'm just going to do all your work too. Thank you. Somebody tell me it makes sense. I'm trying to make this as easy as possible. The hard part is if you want to learn this, you're going to have to just Google shit. I'm sorry. You're going to have to actually look at YouTube all day long and try to make the connection between, there are 0 marketing videos on Power BI. There's sure as hell ain't no search videos on Power BI. So you have to take finance Power BI videos and translate them into how you would do things in search. Because the only people that use this are mostly finance people and analysts. All right, so stop falling for the search volume plus click-through rate curve farce. So now let's walk you through the steps, because you just saw what's possible. Okay, tell me this, British audience. Would it be nice if you could have click-through rates, conversions, and position in one graph? Would that be nice? Just checking. I love that so many of you, no bullshit, I love that so few of you raise your hands, because I can do the work of 10 people with a fucking spreadsheet. Raise your hand to that shit. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. People are shocked at what I'm able to find, and I'm getting ready to drop on you how to do it yourselves. So pay attention. Build your data warehouse. Do you know how to go to adwords.google.com? Okay, just check it. So if you know how to go to adwords.google.com and then to go to the report tab, see it sitting up there at the top. It's really easy to find. You click that thing, and then you put in all the shit you want from it. And I know this, here comes the advanced part. You export it. You get into the CSV, your favorite friend. Remember, you know what this looks like? This is Excel. Remember Excel? Super easy. Okay. By the way, Power BI, free. It's another reason why I like Power BI. Only works on non-Macs. So you're screwed, you're screwed, you're screwed, you're screwed, you're screwed, you're screwed, you're screwed. Nice surface. It's going to work great on yours, buddy. All right. So you might have to use a different tool or find some way to load it. I don't know about that stuff. All right. You go to analytics. You go to the bottom of analytics. You say, give me the top 5,000 rows for like landing pages. And by the way, petdoors.com, can you please shout them out? Because I put a tweet out to say, who would give me their data so I can present you guys real data instead of a bunch of fuzzed out stuff from my clients, and they volunteered all their data. So shout them out, thank them, link to them in your freaking recaps, because you would not see nearly as actionable information if they weren't brave enough to let me share all of their data with you. So thank you to petdoors.com. So then I do that in analytics, and guess what I do? Export. So I get in Excel, super simple. Then I go to SEMrush, and I click on, I filter it down, because they only let me get 30,000 at a time out of the front-end interface, and I click on Export Excel. And then it goes into here, and it looks amazing. All right, so now we've got all of our data sets, right? You can do this for so many data sets, it's ridiculous. So now I got to clean it, though, right? I got to clean this data up so I can start to manipulate these things. Keywords are easy. So you look at one report and you go, search queries. Great. Please do not try to match. Do not email me asking for help if you try to match in PPC, don't try to match the keyword column to the keywords in SEMrush or Google Search Console or wherever. Why? Because the keyword column has all the pluses and the little brackets and stuff that aren't how people actually search. They're the match types. Use the search query column. So you're going to use search queries, and you're going to match them to keywords in all these different reports. The URLs are a little bit more complex, but not very much. Stat, one of my favorite tools on the planet, they come in at www.domain.com because they put their HTTP, HTTPS in a separate column. SEMrush does the full URL. Analytics doesn't give you the domain most times. And paid search, very often they're using like subdomains and things like that. So you've got to clean up all these domains to look somewhat similar so you can have a unique key to weave all these data sets together. And you know what you have to do? Control F and replace. Super simple. So now, when you have all this data together, I want to show you a quick video, and it's just a quick one, there's no audio to it or anything, of all the things that I can just click on and create visuals on. And I can put them all in one visual. I can put two in a visual. I can do anything I want with this data. Look at how much I have sitting for this one client by just exporting those not just those, a few other CSVs. Analytics data. I can put all that in my data set. Google Search Console keywords, Google Search Console URLs, people also asks, PPC data, SEO data, stat data. All those data sets, I can just click on those little boxes and visuals just keep popping up, showing me new things. That's how quick and easy it is to get to that point. Pull your data down, clean your data, then you have this. I got 5,000 landing pages out of analytics. This is just one data set that I have for one client. You can see how many rows I've got out of SEMrush, how much data I have been running through stat, my Google Search Console queries, my Google Search Console landing pages, my search query report, and how many factors or columns each one of those have. You're going to bring a knife to a data fight? I have 5,061,030 data points for that one client to decide what keywords they should go after. And you got an SEMrush export with 20,000 keywords in it. I'm just going to see more. That's all. That's what I want you to do. I want you to build these data sets, and you're going to be amazed at how much you can see. No bullshit. This morning, in the shower, I went, if I get a GDN export, URLs, of sites that are converting for my client out of the GDN, so URLs, right? If I clean those up to match my data warehouse for this client, guess what I can do? I can look at all the sites ranking in the top 20, because I'm bringing all that in out of stat, and then overlay how many of them are also in the GDN driving conversions. That fast. That fast. So once you put all your data, that was a bad snap, by the way. Once you put all your data into a data warehouse, you spend all your time hypothesizing and clicking on little boxes and going, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. What's been really interesting, I'll show you later if I can get to it, is I've now integrated Screaming Frog and PPC data. Why? Because one day I was just sitting in the data warehouse, so I was like, what would happen if I put these two things together? And I was like, oh, shit. Now you want to import your data. So it's cleaned up. There's 3 different levels of data import. Excel, that's our friend. Everything I've shown you up till now has been Excel. So you just put a bunch of files on your computer, load them in, done. Level 2 is folders. So what you can do is you can create separate folders for Power BI, and you can load all your data sets in each folder. And then if you put a macro on that data to automatically clean it, once you get used to what you have to do to get your data together, the folders, each time you dump in the new data for the month, updates every one of your visuals. So if you create 100 visuals for your client, I'm going to show you visuals around step 6. And you go, man, I wish I could update this every month, but it takes so much time to get all those files. No, it doesn't. You download them every month or have them emailed to you every month. You put them in a folder, run a macro on them. They're automatically cleaned, and every one of your reports updates, and every visual updates. The thing that we're doing now, because I believe in this so much, is I'm like, yep, time to hire a developer and make a MySQL database and put all this in a massive data warehouse. Because now I can look at 77 clients at a time and see who's got the best and worst with the same amount of clicks. Oh, let me see which client's the worst. Show all clients? Ooh, they have the worst example of this issue. We should talk to them first about it. It's the biggest threat for them. Step 4, connect that shiz. Put it all together. Let me show you how to do it. So when you go to Manage Relationships, up there in the right-hand side, you click what data set you want. So you can see it over to the right, Analytics. So I say, I want Analytics. I want Landing Page. Then number 3 is, what data set do I want to marry it to? And then I go, OK, that's the URL that I want to marry to my landing page. And then don't worry about cardinality. Don't even worry about cardinality. You'll go nuts. Just know this. Any errors you get out of it, Google it and go to YouTube, or YouTube it, whatever, and then you'll solve it that way. What's going to happen is when you go to match things up sometimes, they're going to go, you can't create a relationship because the columns have duplicate values. So it's a little bit of a problem. Doesn't happen as much in Tableau, happens a lot more in Power BI. So we're going to have to fix that. Because this is how it feels when you spend 2 weeks working on something and you go to marry those 2 data sets together and they go error. You're like, oh man, damn it. All right, but I spent time to figure out how to do it, and it's really easy. Cheat. Cheat. We're going to cheat in our data. And anybody that's a real data scientist is going to be like, is going to vomit right now. So you can turn around and face the back. I'll tell you when it's safe to look forward again. So I go to Edit Queries in Power BI. And I look at my 2 data sets that are highly likely to have a column that's got the same information in it twice. That's what's creating the problem if you have 2 different data sets that has the same information in it twice. Only if you have 2 data sets. So what I do is I go, OK, SEMrush and stat. You sort by position, which means you go 1, 2, 3, right? And then you go over to the keyword column. And I forgot this next slide in my slide deck. So you have to go to Remove Rows. And you click on Remove Rows, Remove Duplicates. Gone. All your duplicates are gone, and you can connect your data sets. The reason why that's OK to do is because typically, if you rank number 1 for a keyword and number 50, you really just want to know that you rank number 1, right? You don't really care that you also rank number 50 as well. So when you have to clean up your data and they give you that error message, just remove the duplicates out of your SEMrush, and you can connect most of your data sets back together again. It's a little bit complex. If you try to do this and you run into this problem, just email me or hit me up on Twitter. I'll shoot a little video for you and send it right back to you. I think I have Wi-Fi on my flight home, so I can maybe do it then. So let me show you what's possible when you start putting this much data together once again. This one has volume, I believe.
Data sets, we've got analytics data, PPC, SEO from SEMrush. And I'll have some more later to bring in as well. But now you can instantly do things like this. I'm going to take all my keywords from paid. I want to get their conversions, their cost per click, and let's get clicks, why not?
Sure, why not?
And then from SEO, I will get from my SEMrush data, I'll get my keyword, I will get my position, and I think that's a good start. Let's take a look at what we got. So this looks like absolutely nothing. There's a big scrolling mess, but all you got to do, click conversions, sort, and now what we're seeing are keywords that are converting and what our ranking position is. So this ideal pet products, that's my third most searched for, most converting keyword. And you can see I'm in position 5. Great opportunity to maybe do a little bit of meta tag and title tweaking to try to move up, look at competitors, things of that nature. Pride Pet Doors is at 6. So then you can start to look at these here and look at opportunities as you scroll through the list based on keywords that I've...
Good enough. I'm in the flesh. You don't have to hear the recording, right? Do you notice there's a couple things you should notice about that? I was like, should we add this in? I'm like, sure, click. Because there was no overhead for me to be like, click. Oh, let me see what that looks like. Add this in. Sure, yeah, click. And now think about it. When I have a conversation with a client, I can say to them, I want to move this keyword up from 5 to 2. Why? Because I just showed you your own organic click-through rate that showed you when you move from 5 to 2, that is a massive increase, number 1. Number 2, I showed you that it's your third or fourth most converting keyword of all the keywords you spend money on. Can I go after that right now? Client's like, yep, makes sense. Makes sense to you all? Good, more heads nodding this time. So in a typical click-through rate, conversion rate, old world, you go out and get the number of searches from some tool that's wrong, and then you get the click-through rate that you're like making up from some dumb click-through rate curve, and then you ask your client, what's your conversion rate? And they say 4%, and you plug that shit in and make your estimations. Get the keyword from AdWords. Tell them to bid on the keyword in AdWords for a week so you can get a legitimate click-through rate and conversion rate. And you can get all the search queries around it so you can do better keyword research. Here's another thing for the SEOs in the house. One of our PPC people just hit me to this because I had forgotten about it. If your client goes, well, I'm not going to give you my PPC data, you can either be a whiner or you can go over to AdWords where if they've connected their AdWords, or they can go to Analytics where if they've connected their Analytics to AdWords, most of that same data is over there too. So as an SEO, if you have access to their Analytics, because you need that for your job, then you can actually use all the AdWords data that's sitting over there to do all this too. Do not accept excuses when people don't want to give you their data. Find a way. God bless you. I could have quit when my whole team dumped water on my head over and over again and paid no attention to what I was asking them to do. I didn't. And that's why I'm standing on stage with you right now. That's why I'm excited about this shit, because I didn't quit. Now let's show filters. Filters are easy. They're just like drop-downs, filters in Excel. So you say what kind of filter type you want. I oftentimes use advanced filtering. And I'll go, let's make the CPC more than $1. Maybe you want to do, hey, well, client, where should I prioritize my keywords based on where you're spending a lot of money on paid? All right, well, where am I spending a lot of money on paid? Click-through rate, clicks, positions over a certain amount, number of clicks, so I know that it actually matters. And you get this. Let me sort by cost per click. If that's what my client really gets mad about, I hate paying so much for that word. Okay, click, add it in. Add in the CPC. Nice and simple. Keep in mind that there is no report that I know of that will show you click-through rate or CPCs next to position. Oh, unless you use that average CPC from SEMrush. Because what's really interesting is when you have paid search data and SEMrush data in the same data warehouse, and you put their numbers next to the real fucking data from paid, you go, oh my God, what mistakes have I been making with this data? I've been doing it for years, and then I've just seen the light, and I'm like, oh my God, sorry, clients. All right, so there's 3 different types of filter types. I'm just going to explain them to you. There's your visual filter. So each visual you create is a visual, and but you can put like multiple visuals on a page. If you create a page level filter, it will change all of the visuals on that page. So if you go, hey, I put all this stuff together, but what would all these look like if I only showed something with rich snippets? Oh, okay, let me just filter by result type, video results, and then it updates everything, every visual on that page. And you can do that for an entire report as well. So if you have 15 tabs and you want everything on every tab to be filtered by a competitor name or something like that, that's how you do that. So let's go ahead and integrate 3 data sets now that we're cooking, because we're cooking, right? We're cooking, hopefully. Actually, it's kind of fun to not have people adopt this. It is. What do you see here? I'm bringing conversions from PPC, SEO ranking data and search volume data, which I'm landing pages out of analytics and bounce rates in one visual. And I can just keep adding stuff to this. One of our folks just last week was like, I got a database of weather. So I was like, oh, just throw that thing into our data warehouse. Click, now I can add whether or not it rained as another column if I do something by date. And why not? Because it was like 2 clicks. Like throw the data set in, refresh it, and now it's there. For you PPC people that work in e-com fashion, dump all your data into Power BI and pull a set of results for the weather. And now you can come up with reports that say, how does the weather affect whether or not people want to buy our stuff? And you're just like, click, click, done. It's so simple. It really is. I swear to God. It really is. There's like no like, there was 15 steps in between of this. Like it literally is this simple. So look at this. When you bring in analytics data next to ranking data, next to conversion data. Now you have to realize it's the same word, so it's not like it got 44 conversions, it got 22. So there's going to be things in your data you're going to have to, remember, we're marketers, we're like hacking our way through this. This is a finance person's tool, or a business ops tool. So like I'm seeing some duplicates there in my conversions. There's my keyword. I can see that I rank in position 2 and 3. You cannot sum your search volume. Don't sum your PPC conversions, because if you summed them, you'd be really off. So you have to know what you're looking at. That's the one thing. And you're going to just have to make some mistakes. But then my bounce rates are different, because I'm ranking 2 and 3 for 2 different words. So now, how many of you rank in more than one position on the first page of Google for a keyword? Many of us do. But how many of us now can match the bounce rate to say, oh my God, the page that bounces more or doesn't get as many conversions is the one that's ranking? The other one that's down at number 8, if I got that one in number 2 instead, that one actually gets a better conversion rate and click-through rate, so why would I do it? I love you. You that just did this, I love you because I can see that you're like, oh my God, thank you, Will. So yes, you and me, we're here. Give me your email later. If you get stuck on some shit, I will help you through all this because you get it. When I took the analytics data out, I made a big mistake. I love Gwen Stefani. The only people that make it in my slides, my kids, and Gwen Stefani. No, I'm just playing. All right. You have to check your calculations because this stuff can get hairy. So please do not run off and do this shit and be like, client, look how smart I am, boom. You're going to make mistakes. So you have to know how to check yourself. Let me show you how to check yourself. So Power BI likes to be like, I know what you want to do with this data. You want to sum this data. Remember, a lot of us have ranking data in there. Anybody want them to add up your 2nd ranking and your 8th ranking as 10 for your position? I'm happy you all laughed. It killed me for weeks to understand why my data was messed up. You're like, oh, yeah, of course, Will. I'm like, yeah, if you had been doing this shit, you'd been in the same boat I am, crying and shit. Going home, your wife's like, all like, would you please put down the Power BI? If anybody follows me on Instagram, there's a snap I took of my newest son, Nico. He's 7 weeks old, and because he gets up all the fucking time at like 3 a.m., I'm watching Power BI videos while I'm feeding my son. That's how into this crap I am right now. No bullshit. Well, I watch Narcos first, and then after I watch Narcos, then I watch Power BI videos. All right, so see how Power BI is like, we know what you want. You want to sum your rankings. I'm like, no, I freaking don't. So always leave Excel open so you can check your data in its rawest format so that you're always able to go, wait, that's not adding up. Because they're going to do a lot of shit to start adding things together or summing things or averaging things that you don't want them to average. Notice how once I removed the analytics data, which broke out the 2 different pages, so this is really important. When I took the analytics data out, which broke out the 2 different pages, one ranking 2, one ranking 3, you notice how Power BI is like, oh, well then we'll just sum up your positions for that keyword. By default. You have to check this stuff. Don't email me or be like, well, it's not working, because if you didn't check these, that's on you. I'm working with her. The rest of you guys are screwed. Are you an American? Can we hire you? Because I'm being ignored by 150 people right now. Anyway, not really. We finally fixed this. Right. when I broke it out, Power BI says, oh, there's 2 different URLs here. One's ranked 2, one's ranked 3. So they couldn't sum them up because I put a value in that made them break them out. But by default, it was summing them. So be careful. Because you don't want them summing up that you have 1, 2, and 3 rankings as ranking position 6. This killed me for weeks. I'm just giving it to you guys. So always trust but verify your data. Audrey, thank you. So Audrey's one of my folks here who is one of the people who's really kind of adopted this and helped me to think about this from a PPC standpoint. And she's like, Will, watch out, you're averaging averages. And I went, oh, thank you so much. I said, oh my God, I'm so bad at math. She goes, watch out, because a lot of these data points are coming in from paid search as averages. So then when you go to average those averages, bad things happen. Bad things happen when you average averages. Many of you already know this, but I'm not good at the maths. Plural, right? Maths. Just check. OK. All right. Yeah, well, the first time Will Critchlow told me he studied maths, I was like, but you didn't study Englishes. And I was like, oh, it's different here. Oh. What's the taxi line called? Not the queue. I was in Paddington Station, and it was like the taxi ramp or something, or whatever they called it. And I was looking at the tape, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? It's so funny. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. So like, think about things like this. The reason why you want to pull all your clients' historical PPC data in is I was able to find for these guys keywords that they stopped bidding on because they were too expensive. This is why you want to historically go all the way back, because you can pick up all those keywords that they converted for us, and we liked them, but they were just a bit too expensive. So they cut them off. So now I can go back and pick up keywords in organic that they wanted to rank for and paid, they just didn't want to pay for them. All right, I'm on time? About. Visualizations. You go up to this little right area here, you create a scatter plot for your data. Power BI is going to be like, I know this is what you want, and then you're like, that is not what I wanted. What are you doing? So it counted the conversions by position. So each dot represents a keyword. That's my detail. It counted my conversion. So at each position, it counted how many times there was a conversion at that position. Not what I wanted. Not what I wanted. So be careful about it automatically doing things. So instead of me counting it, I averaged it. And you're going, Will, you're averaging position? That's weird. Sometimes you just got to cheat. And if you actually take your SEMrush data or your stat data and you remove all the duplicates, you're always averaging by 1. Because each row in your data set is unique. So you can now average your positions, because otherwise it gets really hairy when you don't average them. And you want to make them named groups. So once I do that, I get this little thing. And I'm like, OK. All right, but that's still not perfect. So if you're wondering what you're looking at, let me show you a little video here of what you're looking at, and I'll talk you through it. So what I love about Power BI is when I'm with a client, I can mouse over things and just show them kind of, oh, and now we're here. So pet doors, position 1, you got this many conversions. Your next biggest keyword is pet door. You're in position 1. So for me, those are like, how can I make sure to defend those? And as the client's telling me, yeah, those are important to keep, I start writing down how we're going to group together their keywords. So super simple, right? I'm just putting my mouse over things, getting those data points. Next. But I need more data, so I don't have a bunch of little small circles. I need bigger circles. So you can see I'm just going to drag over any one of my 70 different factors that I want. I'm going to make size, I think it's search volume, which I will eventually get to. I just drag it into search volume, and boom. Now I know which ones have the highest search volume as well. And see how I can exclude ones, and it rewrites and breaks out the entire axes? I love this. Because when you're sitting in a room with a client, nothing sucks more than going in Excel and filter, don't want to do that. Here, I'm like, what do you think about this keyword? Mouse over it. It's a high, because I already know what it's showing. High converter, high click-through rate, blah, 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 whatever. What do you think about that? They're like, that's important for us to defend. So I write down on my little sheet, we're going to defend this word, right-click, exclude. Then it draws out all the others and rewrites all those other dots based on the data that's left. So you're constantly being like, OK, based on the data that's left, once you get rid of your outliers, it will rewrite the entire visual for you. And it's very, very simple to do. What I also love is putting in little cards. So now when I click on these, depending on how your client likes visuals, I can go, oh, if they're really big on how much they spend, as I click on each one, it'll show me the sum of the cost for that keyword. And I'm summing it up. because in my paid search data set, you might have a broad match, an exact match, and other match types, so I'm going to sum up how much we spent. So there, I don't want unique values in my paid data. I want to keep all that just the way it is. I'm running out of time. OK, so my second favorite visual is don't tell me your competitors. I'll just graph them all out based on the top 20 out of stat. And then I can do things like, well, filter by, this is organic and everything. What if we only did rich snippets? So all that stuff that Jess showed yesterday, man, that was a great presentation, wasn't it? Like you can say, OK, well, I only want to look for my impact on images where my click-through rates are affected out of paid. So you use the stat data to show you that images are showing up, and your paid data and maybe your analytics data to show you where the biggest threats are to your click-through rates where there's images showing up using some of the stuff we talked about yesterday. All right, so let me wrap up here. Another thing that I love is when you connect two reports together. So I can click on videos, and here are the ones where videos show up. And if I click on the shopping snippet, and I click on that, it'll give me all the search terms where shopping results are showing up, or images. Keep in mind, I got conversions there the whole time, so I'm always talking to my client about impact to conversions. I'm not like, oh, we should do the snippet thing because Jess said. No, I'm like, we should do the snippet thing because Jess said, and these are actually affecting these keywords for you that are big converters. Once again, if I want to know, like, oh, if am I ranking organically for this, and I don't have time for it, so you can see this later, you just drag in your ranking, and it's like, yes, you're ranking for that keyword or not. All right, this is the one I wanted to show you all. Technical SEO and PPC. You don't believe they should be brought together? I say, bullshit. The box. This box is everything. Look at the left axis, position. Look at the bottom axis, the x-axis, title length. If you can understand what a lazy page is, so for me, for this client, a lazy page is something with a really small title tag, because nobody had time to actually write a full one out, right? Because it's a massive, massive e-com site. So you're probably thinking, you're probably wondering what's in the box. Oh, shit. All right, I have to wrap up right now.
What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
All right, Brad. So what's in the box? High converting keywords. I took it out of PPC. With short titles, I took it out of Screaming Frog. That are ranking really highly, I took that out of stat and put it in one visual. So now I'm going to my client, shit, let's optimize this thing in the box down here. What is that? It ranks number 2, the title length is super short, and I know it converts. Why would I not go after that? Let's go make that easy money. So that's a great way to bring in your paid data right next to your analytics, right next to your Screaming Frog data to come up with interesting ways to do that. I am out of time. You're going to have to catch the slides on my slide share. Thank you so much.